Hi, Sean Bougie, surplusfundsriches.net, and today we're going to go over misconceptions in the surplus funds industry. The first couple of items I'm going to cover, I've covered in other videos, but there's some new things that also need to be laid down and covered. So this is something I need to be very upfront with folks, very transparent in how the business works, and especially for you guys that are starting to want to eventually start your own business, there's some basic rules of thumb that you need to understand if you're going to be successful and not start something that doesn't turn out to be something you thought it was going to be. First and foremost, the name on the list might not have been the owner at the time of the sale. As a result, you've got to double check that the owner was actually, the last owner prior to the sale, was actually the owner that's listed on that surplus funds or overage list. That's easy to do. We teach you how to do that. In fact, I did a 1+ hour video where I actually went through that step by step. And you can find that by looking for free surplus funds training on my channel, Surplus Funds Riches, all one word. It's an hour and 5 minutes long, very in depth, gives you a great understanding of what you do in this industry. Another one is they think, or they tell you, these other folks, that you then take that name and just call them, get a hold of them, put the deal together, and worry about any issues later. Well, it didn't work. You need to research, make sure there wasn't additional debt against the property at the time of the sale, because if there was, that debt has a priority claim to the surplus funds in front of the owner. So all you're going to accomplish if you call people and they had additional debt is you're going to get horrible ratings and trashed. And you're gonna give up instantly, which is why a lot of people do. Look, my business partner Jeff and I both thought this business would be over in 10 to 20 years, and that was back in the early 2000s. The reason it's not is a lot of people are trained poorly or they have incredibly unrealistic expectations. Now, in addition to those two things, there's a couple of different ways to work surplus funds. You can work as a finder registered with the state. You can work on assignments in those states that allow you to assign the funds, but you're not heavily regulated. And the third way is the way that we typically do it when we partner with people, which is we use a structured buyout. We give them a portion of the money up front as good faith and more money when we get it out. Obviously, that makes us more competitive. We can also tell the people where the money is. We don't have to lie about that and say, we'll tell you that after you sign our agreement, which, by the way, sounds about as shady as you can get. You don't have to do that because you're actually bringing something of value to the table. Okay. Now, having said all that, there's some things that have come up that I need to address, and I understand that I have a different view. Look, I got out of college, started working for a company managing a telemarketing outfit, raising funds for firefighters and police. Gosh, that was back in 1988. By 1990, I had my own company. That went south. I hired a friend that ended up being, I didn't realize he was hooked on drugs, and he emptied out the accounts. And anyway, I ended up going into bankruptcy for that company in 93. Later in 93, I went full time in real estate, broke just about every record the firm had. And then in the early 2000s, I stumbled onto surplus funds. I can't believe the number of people that think that if you get a hold of somebody, first of all, you're going to get a hold of everybody. You're not. Some of these people are off the grid. Some of them are living with mom and dad in their basement in another state. Some people move out of the country. Some people have passed away. You're not going to get a hold of everybody. Thinking that is unrealistic and kind of silly. The second thing is everybody thinks, well, if I get a hold of them, if I get a hold of the person, they're going to say, yes, my goodness, it's money that they're owed. Hey, how many times have you had an offer come across, a text or an email, and you took it? Did you take it every single time, even if it was in your best interest? Hey, you just bought this, you can get $50 worth of stuff for $10 more. Did you take it every single time, even though it was in your best interest? You didn't. How many times does somebody text you or a company text you and you not respond? You just go, okay, whatever, and click the next one. How many times do you get an email, fantastic offer, can't believe it, 90% off, and you don't even open the email? How many times do you get something in the mail? It's crazy. It's a $25 free coupon and you never even use it. People are not going to work with you just because you got a hold of them. They also, besides having maybe passed away, they may be making a claim on their own. They may have figured that out, or they may be working with another company, or they just don't want to deal with you. Nobody's picking the phone up. They're not. You have to mail and call just to get a hold of them. Texting doesn't work, but you can do it as a backup. Thinking that everybody is going to agree to you is silly. I put a conversion video online. Again, Surplus Funds Riches is my YouTube channel. Go there and look for conversion in my videos. You'll see it. where you've got all these factors have to line up for you to put a deal together. I was a realtor for a number of years. Guys, I would send out thousands of mailings forming different communities that I wanted to get listings in, knowing full well I was probably going to end up dumping $1,500 into mailings over the period of a year, hoping to get one or two listings in there where I'd make 5 grand. I didn't think everybody that got my mailing was going to decide to sell their house. And I didn't think that even if they got it and they were thinking about selling their house, they were going to call me. They might have known somebody else. Somebody else got in touch with them the day before. Who knows? I took the risk knowing full well it's a numbers game. You can't just work one person and think it's going to work. You can't just work 10 or 20 people and think it's going to work. You got to keep chugging, and that's how you're going to get paid down the line. Not everybody is going to listen to you or agree with you. It's that simple. And you're not even going to be able to find a lot of people unless you have a really good system. And even then, you won't even know if you found them or not because maybe they won't react to your call or your mailing. This is business, it's work. It's work. You don't learn how to do this, and then you go, "Wow, this is some incredible secret sauce system. All I got to do is make a phone call and hang the phone up when I'm done, and boom, my checking account is going to have an extra 20 grand in it." Guys, it's work. Yes, it pays extremely well, but it only pays those people extremely well that work it hard. Hope this helps.